Hello, I am Andrea, creator of the Vision Method and founder of the Energetic Ad Lab. And today I would like to talk about getting in front of your audience. More specifically, how to sell yourself without selling your soul or selling anything really. Because for so many conscious creators, for authors, teachers, guides, and messengers, selling has never been a problem. But selling in a way that isn't aligned has been, which in my experience is most traditional selling, which asks you to abandon yourself to make the sale, to persuade instead of connect, to push instead of trust. Traditional selling wasn't designed for the way you work because your people don't decide logically. They decide relationally, energetically, over time. Traditional selling is selling before trust exists, selling before resonance is established, selling before someone feels safe enough to say yes. And when you're a conscious creator, your nervous system knows when something is off, even if you can't explain why. That's what makes selling feel heavy, and that's what creates resistance. That's what makes the ask feel wrong in your body. I want to start with my own story because I know I'm not alone in this. For most of my life, I could sell just about anything as long as I wasn't actually selling anything. I mastered the pitch. I could pull people in with a story. I could articulate the vision, the transformation, the why. I could feel the room. I could read the energy. But when it came time to ask for the sale, to name the price, to invite the exchange, to say, this is how you step in, I fumbled the ball in the end zone every single time. And believe me, I took the courses. I practiced role-playing with friends. I studied scripts and frameworks, objections and closes, and still asking for the sale felt like a backdoor I was sneaking in, like I was violating something sacred, like I was crossing an invisible line between integrity and manipulation, and I couldn't unfeel that. So the question became, how do we sell without ever really selling? How do we invite people into our work in a way that feels clean, honest, and embodied, where the sale doesn't feel like a pitch, but rather the most obvious, perfect, logical next step? What is the one thing that will connect us to our audience in a way that feels like recognition and resonance? It feels like, of course this is next. And everything, absolutely everything in the sales process begins with this one thing. But before I get into that one thing, I want to break it down in a way that you can actually apply it to your business. I want to take a moment and talk about selling itself, because selling has been deeply misunderstood, especially in the spiritual communities. A mentor once told me something that changed absolutely everything. You are always selling something. At first, I resisted that idea, but the more I sat with it, the more I realized how true it is. We all sell. We sell our ideas to our families. We sell our perspectives to our friends. We sell our competence in interviews. We sell trust in relationships. We sell safety and belonging, vision and certainty, often without even realizing it. From the neighborhoods that we live in, to the cars we drive, to the schools that we choose, even the lifestyle that we believe in, we're selling something. Even when you say something like, I would never drive a Pinto. Yes, I know I'm dating myself. You're selling what you don't want. When you recommend a book, share a post, tell a story, talk about something that changed your life, you're selling an idea. So when you have a product, a message, a book, a course, a masterclass, a body of work that you're trying to broadcast into the world, you're not selling a thing, you're selling yourself, your clarity, your integrity, your perspective, and your lived experience. You are the signal, and the exchange, money, time, and energy, is simply how that value moves. Now, I want you to pause for a moment and think about the last thing you purchased. For me, it was something that I ordered this morning on Amazon. It's a product that I've used many times over the years. You see, I know it, I like it, I trust it, so I ordered it. No hesitation, no pressure. That's it. And that's the secret recipe behind every sale. People buy when they know you, when they like you, and most importantly, when they trust you. Not because they were persuaded and not because they were pressured. not because you closed the sale, but because the decision felt self-led. This is where a lot of marketing breaks down and where energetic marketing begins, because visibility without trust is noise, and persuasion without alignment creates resistance. In this training and in the Energetic Ad Lab as a whole, we are learning not how to convince people. We are learning how to be recognizable to the right people, how to really never have to ask for the sale, but instead present it simply as the natural next step. How to let the sale be a continuation of the relationship, not a disruption of it. And everything that we're about to explore, the 7 ways to reach your audience without selling, flows from this one foundational truth. Build trust first, and you will never, ever have to ask for the sale again. And that's where we're moving into next. Why traditional selling no longer works, and what's replacing it. Selling still looks almost the same as it did as when I was first learning marketing. You have a product, solves a problem, and you cast a wide net into the vast expanse of an audience. And, well, we've all heard about the sales funnel, and it's called a funnel for a reason. It starts out by reaching wide, reaching the masses, and then it slowly draws people down step by step, each one curated, strategic, executed with precision, until you reach that final step where you ask for the sale, where you convert. Today, that product may not look like a traditional product at all. In spiritual or conscious communities, for instance, it might be an invitation to a webinar. It might be a class, could be a mastermind, a course, a book, any of these things. But the structure underneath all of it still remains the same. So the real question becomes, how do we reach our audience and sell without selling our soul? Well, we're going to take a deep dive into the 7 ways that we build that key ingredient, trust, in our recipe to sell anything that we have to offer to the world. Chances are high that you're already doing one of these 7 things. So today, I want to walk you through 7 ways to reach your audience and naturally build the bridge of trust. If you stay with me until the end, I'll also share the one hard and true way to make the sale while keeping your soul and your integrity intact, no matter what. So let's begin with the 7. I want you to remember this as we go. Remember this, remember this, remember this. We're not selling anything. Remove that word now. We are building trust, and trust naturally sells. People will come to you when they are ready. Your job is not to chase, but to create vehicles to create trust. Here we go. The first vehicle we can use to build trust with is ads. Yes, ads. Okay, I know that might surprise you. You may even be shaking your head. But ads allow you to reach people you may never have had access to. Before someone can buy from you, they have to know who you are and what you're here to offer. Ads work not because they convince people, but because they create intentional visibility. An ad is simply a way of placing your message in front of the people most likely to resonate with it, instead of hoping, crossing your fingers, that the algorithm figures it out on its own. That's it. There's nothing inherently manipulative about that. In fact, ads are one of the most honest tools we have because they don't rely on virality, performance, or chasing attention. They allow you to say very clearly, this is who I am, I'm here to serve, and this is the conversation that I'm having. And the right people, they opt in. Ads work because they shorten the distance between your message and the people who are already looking for it. They remove friction. They remove guessing. They remove the need to shout louder or to be everywhere. When ads are done well, they don't interrupt someone's day. They feel like timing. They feel like relevance. They feel like, oh, this is for me. And that's why ads are such a powerful trust-building tool. When you're not trying to sell anything, you're not asking for a decision, you're not asking for commitment, you're simply offering recognition. An ad becomes a conversation first. The very first conversation, the very first impression, a gentle introduction. And when someone sees your message more than once, consistently, calmly, without pressure, trust begins to form. That's why ads work. Not because they persuade, but because they allow the right people to find you on purpose. Remember, you aren't selling anything here. People see ads every single day. The question isn't whether you're visible, it's what people feel when they see you. If you build trust inside the ad itself, the sale comes later, naturally. The moment you focus on selling, people feel it. They feel the pressure, they feel the agenda, they feel the grasping. And when we feel pressure to sell, we do strange things. We try to sound, smarter than what we are, or we over-explain, or we try to convince, or we fumble. We lose our grounded presence. For those of us who lead with heart and soul, this feels deeply misaligned. It feels stressful. It feels icky, heavy, complex, especially when we're offering non-tangible things like courses or communities, masterminds or experiences. Ads also don't just create visibility, they also create clarity. They give us real-time feedback about our message, helping us to refine what we're saying without guessing. For years, we were taught that we needed long, complex funnels to prove value to people before someone would buy. But that's no longer true. People are making buying decisions faster than ever. The journey doesn't need to be complex to communicate value. It needs to be clear. It needs to be coherent and trust building. Ads are not about selling. They're about introducing energy. And this is exactly why the Vision Method ads are not treated as sales tools at all. They're treated as signals, a way to let the right people recognize themselves in your message before anything is ever offered. When an ad is aligned this way, it builds trust instantly because it isn't asking for anything. It's simply saying, if this is you, you're in the right place. Welcome. The second vehicle we can use for trust building is writing. Blogs, newsletters, and posting. Blogging, writing, consistent posting on platforms like Facebook or LinkedIn. If writing is something you love to do, this one will be easy and natural for you. Most people will stop to read something for at least 1 to 2 minutes. So the question becomes, what value can you deliver in that window of time? When you consistently offer insight, perspective, clarity, or resonance through writing, you build trust. You become familiar, predictable in a good way, grounded. This isn't about volume. It's about consistency and coherence. When people think, I always get something valuable when I read her words, trust is being built quietly and powerfully. I personally use both a newsletter and I post several times a week on Facebook and Instagram, sometimes on LinkedIn, and I have built a loyal following, a loyal group of people who read and respond to what I write. This leads me right into the third trust-building vehicle, social media, as a relationship, not as performance. Social media itself builds trust when it's used as a relationship. I want you to think lives, stories, reels, posts. When you're writing, ask yourself this question. What would make someone trust me more? If this was the first time they landed on my page, what would their takeaway be? Not what would impress them or what would get the most likes, but what would create a feeling of recognition? What value can you offer to someone? Trust is built when people experience your tone, your humanity, your presence. And this is important. You don't need to be everywhere, but you do need to be real somewhere. Now let's move into our fourth trust-building vehicle, podcasting and long-form conversations. If you want to build trust, this is huge. When someone listens to your voice for hours over time, trust accelerates. Podcasting allows people to hear how you think, feel your rhythm, understand how you process, experience your integrity. And long-form video especially on YouTube, goes even further. People don't just hear you. They see you. They see your expressions, your pauses, your certainty, your honesty. They get a felt sense of who you are. And this matters because trust isn't built through information alone. It's built through presence. This is actually what I'm doing right now in this video with you. I'm offering value freely in exchange for your time. I'm inviting you to stay with me until the end, not because I'm trying to sell you something, but because time and attention are how trust is formed. It may surprise you to know that this mirrors exactly how YouTube uses their algorithm as well. YouTube no longer responds primarily to likes or comments. Although it did used to be that way, it hasn't been for many years. What the algorithm actually pays attention to most is watch time. How long someone stays with a video, whether they continue watching, whether they're engaged enough to remain present, all the way to the end. That's what tells the platform, ooh, this matters to people. And the same is true for trust. Time spent together builds familiarity, and familiarity builds safety, and safety builds trust. This is also why long-form content is so powerful for conscious creators. It allows distortion to fall away. People don't have to guess who you are. They experience you directly. Now, a quick word about short-form content or shorts. Shorts can be useful for visibility. They can introduce someone to your work, but they're not designed to build deep trust. In fact, relying on shorts can work against what we're doing here because it actually fragments attention instead of holding it. Trust doesn't come from quick hits. It comes from sustained presence. That's why long-form content, podcasts, YouTubes, videos, extended conversations is where real relationships are formed. And when people know who they're dealing with, when they've spent time with you, when they've heard you think things through, selling becomes unnecessary because trust has already been established. Since we're talking about trust building, it should come as no surprise to anyone that our next trust vehicle are live virtual presentations. Raw, not polished, not like on Zoom or School or some other platform. These allow people to communicate with you directly. Virtual events are incredibly powerful. Unedited, unscripted, real Q&A sessions, open conversations, weekly or bi-weekly webinars, even one live presentation a week can build your audience and trust faster than almost everything we've talked about so far. Why? Because people get to experience how you think on your feet, how you respond, how you hold space, how you teach without hiding. Trust compounds quickly here. But what's even better? Oh, what's even better than a virtual event? You guessed it, a live event. Live in-person events are the fastest trust builder we have. This is the gold standard. This might be a room with 10 people or 10,000 people, and maybe it's an introduction at a networking event. Any way you do it, nothing builds trust faster than physical presence. Energy is exchanged directly. There's no filters, there's no delays, there's no algorithms, and all gatherings matter. Workshops, meetups, retreats, masterminds. People don't just trust your work, they trust you. They think about the last time that you sat in the audience and you watched someone speak live. Just the simple fact that they were there and willing to be vulnerable inherently gave you a feeling of, yes, I trust that person. And we are finally at our 7th trust building vehicle. Remember to stay to the end where I'm going to offer you my one tried and true, never fail sales method that you can start doing today, right now in your ads, stories, and shorts videos. This is perhaps the one single most important trust vehicle: consistency. Consistency as a trust multiplier, because trust isn't built in one moment. It's built when people see you show up consistently over time. Same signals, same message, clear, consistent. You tell people, I'm not going anywhere. This is who I am, and that steadiness is what makes people feel safe enough to say yes when you ask. So just show up. You aren't doing it just for them, you're also doing it for you. When you're consistent and you show up for others, you're showing up for yourself, building trust in yourself and your message. So here's what I want you to take home today. We're not selling anything, we're building trust. And we are doing that every day through one or more of the vehicles that I describe above. Trust is the real funnel now. It's how we sell. And when trust is present, the sale doesn't ever feel like persuasion. It always feels like alignment. And chances are you're already doing one or more of these things. So it's not like you're starting from nowhere. It's about choosing what actually feels, you guessed it, fun for you. What do you enjoy doing? If you enjoy blogging, blog. If you enjoy creating ads, create ads. If you enjoy going live on Facebook or talking in virtual events, get it done. The next time you build an ad or the next time you go live on Facebook, remember, you're building trust. And when that trust is built and people feel you and you're enjoying yourself, you're not forcing anything. People don't trust perfection, they trust presence. They trust coherence. They trust the energy of someone who isn't trying to get someone from them, but is simply sharing what they know, what they love, and what they've lived. When you choose the vehicle that feels natural to you, you stay in alignment. You stay consistent. And consistency is what allows trust to compound over time, the invisible multiplier. And once trust is there, selling stops feeling like selling. So here we are. My secret, my secret ingredient. It's never about the offer. It's always you that you're buying, okay? So when you're operating from alignment, you're not optimizing for conversion. You're optimizing for trust because people buy from people that they know, people they like, and people they trust. And when trust is present, the sale takes care of itself. Now, I promised you my personal number one way to sell without selling. Drum roll, please. And it's this: storytelling. Tell the story of the transformation that you're offering. You can tell your own story. You can tell the story of your clients, the people who took your course, the people who read your book, attended your webinar, joined your community. If you absolutely hate asking for the sale, like I do, this is your path. Somewhere in your presentation, somewhere in your ad, your blog, your webinar, your talk, I want you to tell the story of transformation. Why? Because people love stories. When we hear a story, the logical mind gets to relax. Defenses soften, resistance drops, and as we listen to someone else's transformation, we automatically begin imagining ourselves having that same experience. That's not manipulation. That's how humans learn. Tell your own story. Share how you once stood exactly where they are now. The problem you faced, the confusion you felt, the moment something shifted, and then the solution you found. And when you finally arrive at the point where you present an offer, people already trust you. You don't have to be a great salesperson. You never have to push. You don't have to convince. You don't even have to sell. Build trust. Tell true stories. Stay present. The right people will recognize themselves in your words. They will come for you. For my YouTubers, if this resonated with you and you'd like to continue this conversation, I hold space inside the Energetic Ad Lab, a school community for conscious creators exploring visibility and trust together. This community is free to join and the link is below. Inside that space lives the Vision Method, my framework for aligning ads with integrity and truth. But you're always welcome, and I can't wait to see you there. Thank you for joining me.